Okay, and we're live. Welcome to today's podcast. Really excited. So we're simulcasting, whatever that word is, on YouTube and Facebook today. So you can catch it on either platform, or if you want to watch it back later. We are just working through a few technical issues. So if it is a bit glitchy on one, maybe try the other one. Awesome. Welcome to Monday. Mondays are always exciting in the marketing world. So today we're talking about Google AdWords. So something that I love using. I think that every business out there should be using Google AdWords in their marketing campaigns. Excuse me. Now, I know Google AdWords are expensive, and the truth is they're only getting more and more expensive because more and more people are jumping into it. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be using Google AdWords, because they're still probably the most pure form of marketing you could ask for. Yeah. Somebody's searching for a product or a service, and you know they're searching for that product or service, and you show your ad only to people who you know are looking for your product or service. And I guess from a marketing perspective, that's really exciting, because if we know we're talking to the right person, then it's just our job then to convince them that we're the right product or service for them to use. And so, although AdWords are getting more expensive because they're getting more competitive, they're getting more expensive because there's a lot of shit players in the game. Like, there's a lot of people jumping into AdWords that aren't following the basic rules and the fundamentals and I guess the rules that Google have set out, and they're there for everybody to sort of see. But for whatever reason, a lot of people don't follow them, which means there's a lot of what we call dumb money or shit money in the game, which is what's driving the costs up. But the good news is, because of that, if you do follow the rules, if you do structure your campaigns correctly, then you can win in Google AdWords, and you can absolutely still get I guess, really good value for money and a good positive ROI from Google AdWords. So what I'm going to take you through today, and I've just got my notes here that I've jotted down, is I guess a bit of an overview in today's podcast about Google AdWords. A lot of concepts that you need to sort of keep an eye out, and the things that you can sort of test, and if you understand these, will help you win. And then what I'm thinking over this week, I might just dedicate this week to Google AdWords and PPC campaigns. So over the next sort of 4 days, I'll probably go through and just break down a lot of these different sort of segments that I'm going to talk through today, because really, once you do, I guess, start to crack this thing open, there's a lot of sort of rabbit holes you can go down, and there's a lot that you need to know. But the cool thing about AdWords is it's very formulaic. There's not a lot that you need to sort of know from an intuitive sort of level. It's very much a case of 1 + 1 = 2. So if you know sort of the formulas and you know how to structure them, then you can certainly win. And look, we know for a fact that, let's say the average cost per click in the industry is $50. That can happen. Let's say it's $10. We know for a fact, by using the formulas that we use, that we can absolutely firstly get our cost per click down to well under 50% of what the market's paying. And we can also get our cost per acquisition, which is the most important thing, to conversions, to a point where it's ROI positive on the front end. So the first thing that you need to know about Google AdWords is, and let me just take a sip of my coffee. Now, I know some people don't like me drinking coffee in the microphone because you can hear me slap, but it's Monday morning and I need my coffee. I did that quietly. So the first thing you need to know about Google AdWords is it's all about relevance. As I said, if somebody's searching for your product or service and they've got intent, then we need to make sure we're showing them an ad just about that product or service. When they click on that ad, they're going to a landing page that talks just about that product or service. Don't send people to your home page with Google AdWords. Don't send them to a generic page. Make sure you really dial in the relevance, because at the end of the day, the user experience is going to be a lot worse if you are driving them to a generic homepage. So if someone's searching for, I guess, sunglasses, make sure your ad has the word sunglasses in there. You're targeting a keyword that is about sunglasses, and that you're sending them to a landing page that's just about sunglasses. And if you can, the type of sunglasses that they're actually searching for. So get quite granular with that. Because the other thing is that we need to understand about Google AdWords is quality score is king. So Google basically ranks every campaign that you run out of 10, and that's your quality score. Now, if you've got a quality score of 1, then you're going to pay a lot more for your clicks. You're not going to get shown to the right traffic, and Google just is going to sort of banish you because you're not providing a good user experience for their audience. And so what quality score comes down to is essentially each campaign's ranked on your expected click-through rate, which is what Google cares about the most, your ad relevance, again, because Google wants to make sure that they're showing relevant ads to the search terms, and the landing page experience. So, I'd argue that the two most important ones there, because it's pretty easy to get the ad to be relevant, especially you can use dynamic keyword insertions and these things as well to help with that. But the getting the click-through rate, because that's how Google makes its money. So let's say, for instance, you've got a click-through rate, a really high click-through rate as opposed to someone else. And let's say someone else wants to bid $10 a click, but their click-through rate is 1 in 10, which means that Google, for every 10 times they're showing that click, they're only making $10. Whereas you've got a click-through rate of 6 in 10, which means that even if you just bid for $2, you're going to get more clicks for Google, because they're going to make $12 out of that transaction, because you've got a higher click-through rate. Because what people don't realize is that a lot of people don't click on Google ads. So the first goal of Google to make money is to get people to click on their ads, because if someone clicks on the search results in the SEO section, Google doesn't make any money from that. And so click-through rate is really important. And then the other one is the landing page experience. I know it takes a bit of work to set up sort of individual landing pages for each keyword, but hopefully as I go through here, I'll help you understand the sort of alpha beta setup. You can save a bit of time and energy. Make sure you're only doing that for keywords that are, I guess, highly targeted and that are working for you. But ultimately, those two things are the biggest sort of, I guess, biggest two elements when it comes to getting more conversions. Because if you can get more clicks on the front end, Google will reward you for lower cost per click. You'll get more people to your landing page. If your landing page is working to convert more people, then you'll get more conversions ultimately, which is the name of the game. So with quality score, there's sort of a couple of components. I'll give you a really brief overview, because this one, there's a bit of conjecture, or a lot of conjecture around how it actually works. And there's a million videos that sort of say the same thing, but think that it works in a different way. Google's very good at not telling anyone how they actually run their algorithms. So each campaign has quality score attached to it. But then on top of that, you've got your page or your whole campaign or your whole account gets an ad rank. And so that's the real powerful one, because the ad rank is effectively your historical quality score. So it takes all the quality scores that you've sort of had. It looks at how you run your campaign, how active you are in your campaign. It gives you an ad rank. And effectively, to my understanding, the way the cost per click sort of breaks down is it's the next competitor's ad rank divided by your quality score. So let's say that their ad rank is a 40 and you've got a quality score of a 10. Then you should be paying somewhere around that $4 per click. Now, if the next person sort of bidding for your, for your keyword with the next highest ad rank is say 40, but your quality score is a 1, then effectively you're paying for $40 per click. So you can start to see there that by following Google's guidelines really closely, making sure that you run a streamlined account, making sure you run a clean account, and that you're working really hard to sort of continually improve that quality score and the user experience, then that's how you get rewarded with lower cost per clicks. So although cost per click sort of is the thing that most people get caught up on when they first start with Google AdWords, the next thing is probably the most important thing. And if you're not doing this, don't run Google AdWords, and that is conversions. So first thing you need to do is to set up your conversion tracking within your Google AdWords account. It's really easy to do this. Even if you're not a techie, watch a few YouTube videos. I do suggest that you use the Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager is a free tool, just like Analytics. But effectively, it's a tool that enables you to house all your pixels in this one sort of tag manager, and then it'll fire them on your pages as you need be. So you can set up your Facebook pixels and other things through there as well. It's quite intuitive, but even if you can't set it up, you should be able to jump on Fiverr or one of these platforms and find somebody to set all these things up quite cheap if you need to get in that route. But certainly what you want to be tracking, the three things that we predominantly track are online conversions to people who've submitted the form, online phone clicks, and obviously phone clicks through Google Ads. They're the three sort of conversions that we like to have set up. And the reason that sort of keywords are really important is because basically, in order to really optimize your campaign, you want to be targeting cost per acquisition at some point, which is where you're telling Google that I want to acquire a lead for this amount of money. So instead of focusing on the cost per click on the front end, you're focusing on the back end with the cost per acquisition, but you can only get there when Google's got enough conversion data. I think I might even jump down to that section. So I did scribble these notes down in about 5 minutes before I jumped on, just to give myself sort of a run sheet. Okay, so I'll have a look here. Yeah, let's jump into that. So basically, the best way to sort of structure your campaign to achieve this is with what we call an alpha beta sort of setup. So the reason you can't jump straight into conversions is because Google doesn't have any historical data to know really what a conversion is. And so there's a tipping point. We aim for about 30 conversions within the 30-day cycle, so within a month. Once we get 30 conversions, then we can go from a cost per click campaign over to a cost per acquisition campaign and start sort of optimizing for that. So the first thing is when setting up your campaigns, don't target display campaign and search campaign. They're two different formats, and so stick to just search campaigns. Search campaigns are when someone types in a keyword, you show up in Google. Display is when you're on a website and you start to see those display banner ads everywhere. They're not as effective, but they can be powerful. But it is a different campaign, which we might go through in another video. So that's the first thing. Set up as a search campaign. For the beta side of things, because when it comes to finding the keyword and knowing how to use your keyword structure, a lot of people get bogged down with trying to find the right keywords. But see, Google's AI is quite, it's really good these days. So you don't have to work as hard for your keywords. And so we're finding that you need to relax a little bit on the sort of the SKAGs or the single keyword ad groups. And so what we do with our beta campaigns is because we're trying to use Google's AI to help sort of do a lot of the market research for us. So we set up a dynamic campaign. So dynamic campaigns where you simply tell Google, these are the pages that I want to target. Google will go and crawl those pages. It'll then start to show ads for keywords it thinks are relevant for that page, and it'll actually create the entire ad, barring I think 1 or 2 lines which you'll put in the ad at the ad stage. But it'll basically construct the ad based on what the consumers actually search for, and they typically have a low cost per click or a lower cost per click, and sometimes a higher conversion. But what we're trying to do with these beta campaigns is effectively just tell Google, go out there and work for us and find out what the market's searching for, find out what you think we're relevant for or relevant to. And then over time, we'll start to see keywords that we can then pull over into our alpha campaigns. So our alpha campaigns are the ones that we take a little bit more control. So on the alpha campaigns, now historically, to make this work, you would use a single keyword ad group. So you'd take one keyword, you'd create a bunch of ads for that, and you'd have one landing page for that keyword. So a SKAG or a single keyword ad group is what that's called. Because AI is getting better and a lot more efficient, we can now expand that a little bit, but I would still suggest that you test this out, and it depends on, I guess, the competition around that keyword and how much you're prepared to pay for it as well. Certainly, once you drop down in, search volume a little bit, we do suggest putting in, 3, 4, even 5 sort of keywords, as long as they're really tightly relevant as well. So you want to make sure that relevance is still there, because when people click on a keyword, you want them to see a relevant ad and obviously see a relevant landing page. And so it's really important then just to make sure that when you're targeting a single ad keyword or a single keyword or a tight group of keywords, what we usually use to increase the click-through rate is to use the dynamic keyword insertion application. So basically, when you're setting up your ads, there's a little drop-down section where you can put a dynamic keyword in. And what Google will actually do is they'll actually replace that keyword with the search keyword each time they show the ad. So just make sure the ad's hyper relevant. And what it does, it gives Google a little bit of control with their AI, because to be honest, Google wants complete control. They'd love their AI to take over eventually, but then it enables you to still control the call to actions and the actual copy in your ads and test those a little bit as well. Then I suggest setting up your landing page. And if you want your landing page to, in the eyes of Google, to be really relevant, simply set up your landing page so that it's optimized for SEO, because the optimization that we'd use for SEO is very tightly, it's very tight with what Google AdWords considers a relevant page as well. So, I do believe that on landing pages you want a bit of copy on there. You don't want it just to be a squeeze page. We try and aim to have about 500 words on the page, and then you still just want to make sure you optimize that page for conversion. It's not an information page. You're going there to try and get conversions. Okay, so a couple of once you've sort of set up your campaigns, the next real step to winning in AdWords is really all about the weeding. Google has kind of infinite data and infinite ability to sort of show you, or show your ad to, just a huge multitude of people. So if you allow them to do that, you'll end up showing your ad to the wrong people, because Google's all about making money for themselves. So what you want to do is start to try and dial in the parameters of where you want your campaign shown. And so I spoke about avatars in one of my previous videos. Understanding your avatar is really important for each campaign, knowing who you're targeting, because you can go into the demographics section, you can go into all the sort of, I guess, external sort of data, and you can start to refine it there based on who you're trying to target. I do suggest that if you're targeting males and females, something that works really well is to run campaigns just for male audiences or just for female audiences, because you'll find the campaigns always work differently, and you'll find that one is going to be more effective for your market. So that's a really easy one that you can do. You can do this through the experiments, or you can simply set up 2 campaigns, if you're confident in it, where you exclude males in one, you exclude females in the other one. The other thing is, when you're doing that, you either have to make the decision to leave other in there, or to exclude other as well. We've had mixed results with that. So basically, the thing with Google, the difference between Google's targeting and Facebook's targeting is Google doesn't absolutely know you're male or female, because you don't actually put that data into their sort of platform, whereas on Facebook you do. So I don't know. I find it hard to believe Google doesn't know whether you're male or female, considering they have 1 million data points on everybody. And I feel like that if you're seeing 3 searches of any person, you'd be able to figure out whether they're male or female. But they still sort of seem to think or say that a good 60-70% of their audience, they don't know whether they're male or female. So the other one is, split testing the time of day that you're showing your ad as well. So there's a few trains of thought here. One, if you're a physical business who is able to take phone calls, test running campaigns during the day. You can try for call-only campaigns, but more importantly, you want to try and not just optimize for conversions and for interaction, but you want to try and get customers. So if you are a physical business, try running your ads through business hours only and see if you get a result there. Then try turn on maybe running them after hours as well, to see if you can drive sort of more physical leads. So during the day, we might drive them to call. Then after hours, obviously, if you're not open, you'll drive them to a lead form or a form online sort of thing. And I'd also test out sort of time of days that you're showing. That's another one that sort of catches people out of it. So effectively, you can sort of get little wins if you're running on different times throughout the day as well. My best understanding as to why this works is because, let's say that you've got 20 people bidding for a keyword, and everybody's bidding on the 24-hour daily, then a lot of those people will rinse through their sort of click their daily campaigns. And so you might find there's a window at some period where there's less competition around that keyword. So I don't know if that's absolutely correct. I'm pretty sure Google's probably clever enough to spread everybody out throughout the day, but we have noticed definitely that through different times of the day, we can get a better result. But remembering that it's always about the conversions. So don't get focused on cost per click. It's always about when are you getting the conversions. And the one thing I will say is getting the cheapest possible conversions doesn't always work. Google is really, really smart at actually getting people, understanding who's really buying and who's in the market. And they're really clever at understanding the quality of a lead. And so it's really a bidding system. So if you're trying to get a lead at $15, you'll probably still get your mark and you get leads, but what you'll find is they're probably not the most high quality leads. So, if you're willing to bid a little bit more, just what I'm trying to say is monitor the quality of the lead as well, not just the volume of lead, because what we found is that we have had campaigns that are running at an ROI that we're happy with, and then when we try and push the needle down, further and further, we don't seem to drop in the volume, but we do sort of drop in the quality. So it's important to sort of make sure you're tracking the leads through to sales as well, because that'll then help you hopefully determine a sweet spot within your cost per acquisition budget in there. And then the last one, I've spoken about this already, but the landing page and user experience is just so critical to making AdWords work. I'd probably argue it's the most important thing to get right. And so copywriting is still the most powerful conversion tool in the world. So understanding your audience, understanding who your avatar is, how you want to speak to them, what their pain point is, and then clearly articulating how you solve that and calling them to action is the best approach. And I do honestly think that you can't win unless you've got dedicated landing pages as well, or it's a lot harder to win as well. So, and it's not to say you need them up front, but once you start to identify your sort of winners and losers, when you've got a bit of a winner there, then definitely go to the effort of creating that unique landing page just purely for that, because it'll enable you to test and measure, and obviously that'll help you move the needle as well. So I hope this was helpful. As I said, look, Google AdWords, I do honestly believe that you're crazy if you don't have Google AdWords within your marketing pool. I know it's expensive and all the rest of it, but it is highly qualified data, and we know they're in market. We know there's an intent there. So I do think that you should be always slicing off a part of your marketing budget for Google AdWords and intent-based marketing. So over the next few days, I'm going to jump into a few more of these topics and maybe talk about display marketing and retargeting as well over this week, and maybe break down a few of these in more details. And I'll work out what we're going to do tomorrow. I might go through account structure even just to help you. But I guess the beauty of Google AdWords is very formulaic. So once you do know the formulas, and once you get over the initial, I guess, confusion about the platform itself, because when you first jump into Google or Facebook, any of these platforms, there's so many little things you can click on. There's so many different options that it gets quite overwhelming for the average business owner. So hopefully through these videos we can help strip back a bit of that confusion and get you on your way. So if you like this video, look, hit me up with a comment or share this video. If you've got any questions, definitely drop it in the comments and I'll answer that in the videos coming this week. Otherwise, have an awesome Monday, and I'll see you tomorrow for another podcast.